Number 6 on our list, cash-only payments will improve your credit score.
I love it.
No.
Cash
They
only.
won't. No.
Cash money.
The thing is, your credit score, you got to measure your credit score is a measure of your habits and your ability to basically borrow money and pay it back on time. Mm-hmm. Well, when you're paying for everything on cash, you're not borrowing and paying it back. You're just paying for it with cash, and therefore you're not creating like activity, right? That shows that you have the ability to borrow and pay it back.
Yeah.
And so that's why everyone's like, yeah, I got a great credit score because I literally have never used credit, right?
Yeah.
So I've never used credit. I got nothing bad on there, but the problem is you got nothing good on there either.
Yeah, there's no record.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
No credit's bad credit.
No credit
That's
is
how
bad
lenders
credit.
look at it.
I mean, it is
credit's
because...
not good credit either, though. My son just found that out when he purchased his truck.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a 740 credit, and they still made me co-sign for him.
Yeah.
His credit's better than mine.
Yeah.
Mine's just older.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
So it's more established.
That's such a solid point. I always let people know the score gets you in the door.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it, because if there's a lack of history or lack of depth, well, then there's going to be other, lending requirements. They're going to say, hey, well, you have the score, but really, we want to hit these requirements here. We feel more comfortable to lend you money.
Yeah.
Conventional loans are very strict on that. Like I've had several people, 750, 760 credit score, can't get approved for a conventional loan unless they put big dollars down. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because the history is so short.
Yep.
You got a great score, but you've only had one account open for 6 months. That's just not long enough to us to be able to say, yeah, you can borrow money and pay it back on time. We need more history.
Yep.
FHA is fine all day long on 6 months worth of history, but conventional loans, not unless you have a big down payment. That's not going to run and it's not going to get approved.
Number 7, improve your credit by closing your credit card accounts. I have clients all the time that say,
He's quick on that button, isn't
all
he?
right,
I love it.
I want to buy a
That's
house. I've got these couple credit cards that I've had for like 15 years. I never really use them, so I'm going to close them. I'm going to close those accounts.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Please.
Why not, Jared? Why not close a credit card that you've had for 15 years that you're not using?
I know when I hear this story, I'm always like, oh, like how you started with the properties on the market right now. That when I hear that, I feel the same way. I'm like, that is a big no-no, and the reason being is that you have to think about it. Like Mike just brought it up earlier. Your credit is an indication. It's about habits. It's about they want data. Lenders want data so they can make better lending decisions. That's why they use that. What happens is if you have, let's say, like a credit card you've had for 15 years, even if you haven't been using it, that open available credit is a positive for you, and the history is a big positive for you. And when you close that, you're now closing out that active account, what was positively impacting your history and the available credit. It shuts that down. And so it's not uncommon when people do that to see a significant dip in score. I mean, it can be quite significant. And it's based on the other history within your report and other depth that you have, So that's a big no-no. And I think it happens to a lot of people too, where either two things happen. One, they're conservative mindset, right? And they're thinking, oh, well, I never use these anyways. And I want to show them that I don't even need these cards.
Yeah.
I don't even need these cards to pay this bill.
Yeah.
Well, that's the big issue.
Right.
That's not how it works. And then you also have people too that have maybe gone through the journey of building their credit, and they have some accounts that have like annual fees or some fees associated.
sure.
And they're thinking, well, I don't need these anymore because I'm better now.
Yeah.
Thing is, when you close that once again, negative impact.
Yep.
So there's a couple variables involved in that and why people make those decisions.
And we would even take it a step further and say if you have those older accounts, older the better, use them. Put one of your reoccurring, 19 bucks a month bill on there. Maybe it's a Netflix or whatever the case is. Use it.
Yep.
And then set that payment up on auto pay.
Yep.
So you don't have to think about it or ever worry about it being late. But I mean, if you've got 3, 4, 5, 6 cards, they should be used every month. Keep those balances below 5%. Is that kind of the recommendation?
1 to 3 is the best.
1 to 3 is the best. But using them shows activity, and activity helps your score.
Yep, exactly.
Number 8 on here: smart management of various banking accounts. So we're talking about checking and savings accounts will reflect in your credit score.
So that's completely separate.
Yes, it is.
Your checking has no, it's not reported to the credit bureaus, at least when it comes to your credit report. There is a separate system called check systems. There's bank ratings. There are differences, but that's not specific to your credit report.
You're absolutely correct. These are not reported to credit bureaus and thus have no impact. Number 9, dispute accurate but negative information to remove it from your credit report. It says you can dispute only mistakes. A valid dispute will result in a deletion of inaccurate information. A dispute of negative but accurate information will achieve nothing. So this is just talking about, folks, if you have things out there that are accurate, and disputing them is going to have little to no effect. Number 10, missed payments that aren't reported to credit bureaus won't affect credit score. Missed payments that aren't reported to your credit bureau won't affect credit score.
If it wasn't reported, it won't negatively impact. A lot of times people feel like if they're late by a few days, my credit's going to drop.
Yep.
It's based on the billing cycle. That's why the first late payment's 30 days on a credit report. Mm-hmm. So as long as you made that within that timeline and it did not report a 30-day delinquency, it would not negatively impact score.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
so that's the other thing too, is a 30-day late is something that's a full 30 days late.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you have a payment due on April 1st and you make that payment on April 30th, you're still good. Now, if you go to May 1st and make that payment for April 1st, now you're the full 30 days late. Now it's going to show up as a 30-day late.
And when you say make the payment, you mean the bank receives the payment.
Like receives it, processes it, applies it to your account.
Not pending.
Yeah.
It
You know
needs
what
to
I mean?
reflect that payment
Can't
was
send
made.
it out on the 30th.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where it's like you're on April 30th, like, can I make a payment over the phone so that it gets applied right now? You know what I mean? That type of deal.
Yeah.
You can't be like, I'm going to submit it online and hope it processes and goes through in time. Like, you got to do that now if that's a situation.
I think that's a great point, talking about 30-day lates. I mean, when you're talking about lates on your credit report, they're usually talking about 30, 60, 90-day lates.
Yep.
Is there 120, 120-day lates?
Yeah.
You can go up to 120.
180s, 180-day lates?
Well, I think 120 is the longest. I think
120 is the
at that
longest.
point it's...
And then usually on the report, let's say if something really did go bad for a long time,
Yep.
we call them like rolling lates is the term
Okay.
that's used. And you see like it goes up like 30, 60, 90, and it's like, it just keeps going
Then it's
120
120,
over.
120, 120,
Oh,
120.
yeah,
Then the
'cause they
call them
120s just
rolling.
start stacking up
Yeah,
and going back.
compounding.
Yeah.
I have seen 180 related to federal student loans.
Oh.
I have seen that on reports, and then it rolls from there. But it ranges based on the creditor.